everybody. It's John and me, Tim. We're back with a weekly sip out of Needham this time around, and we've got a very cool wine that we've actually featured in this past flea market, but we're bringing back to the masses in both stores.
You got it.
What is it? Tell us about it.
Well, good morning, Tim.
Good morning.
All right. Today we're featuring a winery that has been a long-standing favorite of mine, going all the way back to the probably mid-1990s. It's a property known as Anselmi.
Not salami.
Exactly.
Got it.
So we're in Italy, specifically out of the Veneto region, and out of Veneto we're in the Soave district, which is a winemaking area located in the foothills just outside of the city of Verona.
Okay.
So this is an area that's had a long-standing winemaking tradition. They make both red and white wines, but they're most famous for their white wines, and specifically Soave.
There's a joke there somewhere, but it's too early in the morning for me to make it.
Yeah, it's actually like 50-50, because there's your Valpolicellos and your Amarones and the like come from the same area. But as far as white wine is concerned, Soave is what we're talking about. And this particular property is currently operated by third and fourth generation winemakers, Roberto Anselmi and his daughters Lisa and Tommaso. The property was first established going back to Roberto's great-grandfather or great-great-grandfather in the 1920s.
Okay. And
when he purchased what were essentially the highest level vineyards in terms of up on the top of the hillsides in this particular zone between the towns of Monforte and the hill town of Soave. Okay. And they established themselves as good quality winemakers at that time, very small scale. But due to the economic circumstances that occurred after the Second World War, his grandfather was forced to have to sell all the vineyards in order to keep the family together.
Yep.
Roberto then, along with his father, were committed to the idea, starting in the early 1970s, of essentially reestablishing their family in the winemaking business in this area, in the winemaking trade. And starting in 1976, started to repurchase their old family vineyards and reestablish the family name.
Well, that's cool.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I always love it when there's a history behind a winery, and the twists and turns of what happened in Europe in the 1940s, and how winemakers survived, didn't survive, and then reestablished their own vineyards after. It's that history of that period of time, which we don't talk a lot about, except for maybe in the wine trade.
Sure. Well, Roberto has gone on at this point now, after kind of several generations, of basically establishing himself as being amongst the great winemaking, white winemakers in the world. You can throw his name in along with the likes of Lafon or Trimbach and the like, as when you see their name on a label, it's top notch. So much so that Roberto basically spent a decade through the 1990s negotiating with the DOC Soave Consortio. This is the organization that basically awards your DOC status, allows you to say Soave Classico or Soave Classico Superiore on the label, to try to get them to tighten up the rules around what could be labeled as Soave.
Yeah.
Essentially, at that particular point, throughout the 80s and 90s, Soave became a very popular wine here in the United States, but it was largely driven by a handful of very large commercial producers who focused on just what super high yields. They use
blasting it out there.
Exactly. They use this thing called a double pergola system, which is what you see when you go out into somebody's backyard and you see the vines that go all the way up 8 feet in the air and go off. You can actually produce a ton of fruit off of vines like that. And the consortio also endorsed using inferior quality clones of the dominant grape variety in the area, which is known as Garganega. And as a result of that, you ended up with a wine that was very inexpensive, It was okay, but nothing special.
Right. As
Roberto,
often happens when you have those blasts
exactly
of a certain type.
Exactly. Roberto, basically owning some of the very best high altitude vineyards in the Appalachian and the like, was really committed to the idea that Soave was capable of much better quality wines, and spent, like I said, a decade negotiating with the consortio, to the point that after 10 years, he only got so far as to get the consortio to agree to reducing yields by 1%, at which point he came out with one of the great kind of like divorce letters that's it's ever written, kind of something worthy of like a Taylor Swift song. We are never getting back together, and then checking off all the reasons why Soave was not producing what he felt the region was capable of.
Yeah.
Since then, in 2000, all of Roberto Anselmi's wines are labeled as IGT Veneto, but they could, if they adjusted it, focused on quality production, could be labeled Soave Classico Superiore. What he's intended to do, he basically uses only the very best quality clones of Garganega, which produce lower yields. He uses the Guillot system, which is a more kind of a more modern system with a lot of density on his plantings. So it sounds like, well, density of plantings are going to produce more grapes, but the trick is each plant only has one or maybe two clusters on it, as opposed to 20 clusters on it. So the quality of the fruit is like off the charts. Anyhow, you combine those two things with more modern winemaking practices like temperature controlled stainless steel fermentation and stainless steel aging, and you end up with wines that go from being mediocre to being amongst the very best white wines you're going to find any place in the world today.
Yeah, let's try it.
All right.
Well, actually, let's sniff it first.
Sounds good. So, as you can see, just look at that in the glass. This wine here,
golden.
This is their San Vincenzo bottling. Nice golden yellow.
Yeah, beautiful golden yellow.
Now, this is sourced from vineyards that are at a hilltop vineyard site that they own between the towns of Monforte and Soave.
Yep.
And it's a blend of 70% Garganega with a Sauvignon Blanc and Chardonnay in basically equal measure, just with variations depending on the vintage.
Yeah, it says right on the bottle, Sauvignon blend.
Yes.
So I was wondering what the blend was, but now we know.
There you go.
Now we know.
And you can kind of smell that Sauvignon Blanc, those notes on the nose, that little bit of grapefruit.
I was going to say grapefruit
notes.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Just nice acid.
Yep. And that.
But also a tiny bit of vanilla. I'm guessing that's Chardonnay. You said stainless steel?
All stainless steel.
Stainless steel.
Where you're getting those creamy, those maybe a little bit of vanilla notes on the nose, and then there'll be a creaminess on the texture, is from extended lees aging and batonnage, where the wine spends about 6 months in tank, being stirred on a weekly basis.
Yep.
And that just lends all sorts of complexity to this particular wine. But boy, does it just blow up out of the glass on you. So it's like you're like, right off the bat, you can tell this is going to be something special.
Oh, that's delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's so well balanced.
Mm.
The city is perfect. It's bang on. It's fruit forward, but not overpowering.
Yeah, you get the kind of bright acidity of maybe a little bit of citrus, but more pineapple.
Yeah. Actually, yeah.
And then when you get to the mid palate, you start getting into these layers. There's a creaminess, full texture to it that has layers where you're getting that pineapple we mentioned. You're getting things like apricot. There's a little bit of, I get a little ginger, kind of a spice there.
I don't get that, but
yeah,
this is the beauty about drinking wine, is that it really tastes a little something different based on your palate.
Mm-hmm. And all those things kind of just echo out with a really nice, super long finish on the end.
I mean, this is a banger. I love this.
I agree.
I tried it in Braintree, and I think I was just not really paying attention to it. Now I'm sitting here in a quieter moment, and it's phenomenal.
Mm. And describing this sounds like a cocktail wine. And yes, it is. It's a wine you can definitely enjoy. Pour a glass, and just toss back, and you can enjoy to your heart's content.
Yep, absolutely.
But this is a super versatile food pairing wine as well.
I was going to ask you, what would you, if you had to choose a dish right now, what would you pick?
Indian cuisine. That jumps right out at me.
Yeah.
Specifically, something along the lines of like a chicken korma Yeah, so you get that basmati rice, you got that slow stewed chicken with the kind of warm but not super hot creamy sauce to it. Thai red curry with like veggies and stuff like that would also work. And this one is kind of classically paired with seafood entrees. So kind of more seafood entrees.
Mediterranean.
Mediterranean type of thing. So calamari, fried calamari, lobster in like a fra diavolo type of style, that type of thing. It's got that.
I'm starving.
There you go. It's got enough weight and enough intensity of flavor that it's going to match up to any of those stronger, spicier flavors. And yet at the same time, it's got the richness to kind of go 10 rounds with richer cuisine at the same time. So your pastas in kind of cream sauces with
I know it's not Italian, but Alfredo sauce.
Hey, I would even go with like a mushroom sauce or something like this, kind of as a counterpoint. So
some more earth, more density in flavor.
Exactly, kind of coming back on the other side. So that's really what we're looking at here, and this particular wine, regularly sells for, I don't know. Let's see. Where's the price point? It's right behind here. Let's go take a look. It's right there. See, we always forget. We don't want to focus on how it tastes, but we forget what it costs.
We forget what it costs. So we're actually at $17.60 per bottle. On a 3-pack special, we're down to $14.66, which is a 33% savings
off the regular market price of about $22.
Yeah.
So
92 points by Suckling, if that matters to you. Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, and I can't pronounce Garganier.
Garganiga. That's the dominant grape. Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
That's a 70-15-15 blend.
Cool.
Phenomenal. And the price point is, I think, right on the money.
You betcha. We'll have this bottle open here in Needham all day. There'll be another bottle open over in Braintree.
Yep.
It's on feature for for the next, at least through the weekend anyways.
Yep.
Jump online, stop into the store, pick up a 3-pack. Heck, I'd pick up a case of this, no problem.
Yeah.
So anyways, leading up to the 4th of July holiday weekend, you want wines that you can enjoy with with friends and with a good meal. This certainly qualifies for you.
This should be served ice cold.
I think it's good with a nice chill to it. Absolutely.
I think it'll really bring out the flavors.
You got it.
So anyway, until next week, we will see you back in another episode of the Weekly Sip. Come into the stores, try this wine. 4th of July is coming up.
Yep.
So come in and stock up on whatever you need anyway, but especially on this baby.
You got it.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers, John. Thank you.